we could look at it. Maybe the best spot for yin and yang would be atomic notes. So let's put it there. And what about this other one? We have upstream, downstream effects. So that's sort of an idea. I'll put it in ideas. But isn't yin and yang an idea? Maybe I should put that in idea. But they're both sort of short notes. So maybe I should put them both. Can you see what's happening here? This is what happens when we try to folderize idea and knowledge notes. There's no easy way to do it. And this is the best example of where a folder title has to match the type of note it is. And this is a fantastic example. No one talks about this, but this is where you want a folder title to be as fuzzy as the type of stuff that it holds on to. Now, if we're dealing with projects, we can have a folder title called projects. If we're dealing with efforts, that folder title is called efforts. But when we're dealing with ideas and knowledge, it's so fuzzy and ambiguous, it can fall under all sorts of categorizations. I'm going to argue that you want a folder that is equally fuzzy. And that's why umami is not so bad. Now later on, once we get to the ACE framework, you'll see what I personally use, but that doesn't mean you have to use it. All we're trying to do right now is identify the type of notes that we have below and where they might go above. Now we're not going to organize all these notes right now. We're going to do that once we get into the para method and the ACE framework. But instead, we're going to look at what's needed. And the next thing that you might need are notes on productivity. These are efforts and projects that you might have. So it looks like I have some notes on a project that's due next month. And I'll just throw those in efforts and projects. That makes sense, right? And I could keep going. I could find this project that's due next month. I'll go ahead and throw it in here as well. So those are productivity-based notes, action-oriented notes. Do you need that in what you're doing? That's the question. You might not. Let's go to the next one. What about study notes? Maybe you call them course notes. Maybe it's a folder called learning. Maybe it's a folder called training. And that's where you could think, that's where I'll put World History 101, this course I'm taking. For now, let's just pretend it goes into course notes. Again, as you study things, as you are learning from different online courses or online individuals or articles or just people you encounter, where do those notes go? Think about that. Do you have a spot for those notes? Okay. And then last, what about time-bound notes? More and more these days, in the digital age of linked notes, individuals are finding the need to have a daily note. So if you have daily notes, like we have a few daily notes here, well then it makes a lot of sense to put them in a folder called daily notes, or maybe it's called calendar or chronology or journal.